Good day and welcome to another edition of Zack Miller reading Anomaly. I'm going to say it correctly today because some of you might be like, what? What? Today I read a chapter 16, part of part 2, called Documenting. Here we go. And if you're enjoying this, say thanks or just continue listening. One of the biggest struggles people have is what kind of content should I produce? When starting out, a good way to come up with topics is to write down questions people have asked you about your business or what you do for a living. On your website, you may have compiled a series of frequently asked questions. Promote these questions instead of hiding them on a page that doesn't get visited often. Keep a running list somewhere of questions that potential prospects or current clients ask. How can I get more followers? How do I make a bundt cake? How do I turn my email list into more customers? What can I do to make a viral video? How do I find a job after college? How do I impress my boss to get a raise? How do I race an Ironman? How do I cut hair? How do I shave a beard? How do I read a book? Whatever it might be. If you're still unsure of where to start or need additional ideas or questions, poll your current social media following and email list. Ask them what questions they need answers to. Let's look at Amazon. They now produce pilot episodes for their content division. Instead of creating an entire series, they'll shoot a pilot, engage interest from reviews, time watched, and engagement. This process allows Amazon to spend less time and money on content that may not produce returns. You can use this method as well by teasing out a piece of content before you even create it. If the engagement is lackluster, it shows a few possible outcomes. It's not what your targets are searching for, or your content is not reaching your particular target customer, or you're simply not piquing their interest in the word choice or keywords that you use to describe your content. That can be visual or audio or text-based or image-based. Documenting describes the process of gathering information so you can look back and reflect on your studies and conversations and use this information to improve. Documenting is also recording the conversations you have with prospects, clients, and others under a specific topic. To get started with documenting, start taking notes during the conversations that you're already having. Pull out your cell phone or buy a $10 digital voice recorder from Amazon and record the conversation. When you really feel comfortable, record via video and audio. This content doesn't have to be aired in any kind of manner. It's simply important to have documentation of what was said. How many times have you said something and thought, wow, I wish I would have recorded that? Documenting is that process. In all honesty, I record my podcast kind of as a documenting thing where I have conversations with people, and at some point they may or may not become actual clients, or maybe they already are clients. And it's a great way to have a conversation with them and to not forget. Same thing goes with just clients in general. I record as much as possible. I'll record it via audio or visual. I'll write down notes. I mean, what if I said something that was so valuable, or they said something that was so valuable, and then I can't remember it? And so I was creating a video the other day, and instead of just doing a phone call, I asked the person I was doing it with, having the conversation with, if they could go on a place where I could record it. And they said yes, because it was valuable and I wanted to look back at it. Again, think of this line, wow, I wish I would have recorded that. Documenting is that process. You don't want to be continuing to think that. And if you want to listen to more stuff of mine, you can check it out at Zack Miller Says everywhere. Once you get in the habit of recording your conversations, or at least taking notes, start analyzing and finding trends. Which questions are repeatedly asked and what type of reactions and keywords are created? Take notes on all of it. Over time, take the top questions and create content around them. However you choose to get the content out, the key is getting it from your noggin, your head, and into the world so others can find it, consume it, and be introduced to you. In later chapters, you'll learn how to produce content that creates raving fans. But for now, don't overcomplicate things. You're an expert in someone's eyes, so take that knowledge, document it, and create what your targets are searching for. If you don't, guess what? Someone else will. This is a really good chapter. I'm proud of myself for writing this, and we're only 64 pages in. You have the tools available to you, so stop complaining about how your teammate or competitors are getting better results and go get them for yourself. That's a great line too. You have the tools available to you, so stop complaining about how your teammate or competitor is getting better results and go get them for yourself. I had to say it twice. It was that good. Remember, anomalies are focused. Talk to as many people as you can, as often as you can. The more conversations you have with your prospects, the more you'll understand what they're looking for and how you can help. How many meetings have you attended where someone is picking your brain about something? You may not have realized it, but that's likely the craft or trade that you're good at. It's what others see you as an expert or authority in. Instead of documenting the conversations you have for your own purposes, convince your guests that the conversation would be a wonderful addition for your content library, and then upload the conversation to the appropriate medium. I mean, that's the podcast thing I was just talking about. This way, you're not just having one conversation, you're having one conversation that can be seen by the world. Too often, you're wasting your time repeating yourself. It's one of the reasons Anomaly was written. So there you go. In 2013, I was speaking at an event on marketing and sparked the mind of a new business owner in the crowd looking to improve her site. Jess Horton, the founder of The Fit Petite, asked me for help, so we met. I showed her a few tips that would help her improve her new website, including ways to make money from it. Afterward, I asked her to send me notes, as I had forgotten to record the conversation. Yes, I am a human as well, and I forget to record things. She astonished me at how many notes she took, like 16 pages worth. But I knew, like literally 16 pages. Seriously. She astonished me at how many notes she took, but I knew if it was important enough for her to take pages of notes, there were questions other business owners and bloggers had. I fired up my camera and shot a video documenting the conversation and Jess's questions. And this was like in 2012, 2013. So I literally got the notes from her, and then boom, popped up the questions. I should find that video and share it with you guys. Maybe I'll do that today. Even the high school honor student who was asked for help in school by their classmates should start creating content on those topics. Jess Horton took the notes and acted on it, improving her site and finding new creative ways to monetize it. It was something she wanted to do, but hadn't figured out how. The topics don't matter in the sense that what matters is that you recognize that you're a subject matter expert and need to get the content people are picking your brain about into the eyes of many more than a one-time coffee meeting. One complaint to documenting or providing content around what you do for a living is, I don't want to share my secret sauce. If I document or share this information, I'll be providing an inside look at how I make a living. I think I have to say that again, just with so it's a quote, first of all, but then I want to do it in a fun voice. Quote, I don't want to share my secret sauce with the world. If I document or share this information, I'll be providing an inside look at how I make a living. Oh no. End quote. This technique is not about giving away all your hard lessons learned or what sets you apart. Instead, think about the questions that you continually answer for new prospects. This book is an example of just that. I reflected on the questions that I was repeatedly asked. I concluded that it was some form of, I have this great business product, app, or opportunity to help others, but no one knows about it. How can I be seen? Anomaly was born. I was already providing the answers in a plethora of different ways, just not in an all-encompassing book. And that's why I decided to change this. Amazing. Eric Olson, this is one of those case study books too, and so is the story about Jess, by the way. Eric Olson, actually, that's not correct. Eric Olson read this book and started calling himself Eric J. Olson for a chapter that you're going to hear about later in the book, because he recognized that he had a more common name, so he needed to spin it up a little bit. So he changed it up because he read this, and then he started calling himself Eric J. Olson. So this is a case study about Eric J. Olson, but written in the book as just Eric Olson. So Eric J. Olson has a similar idea. He noticed that the calls and emails he would receive for his digital marketing agency, Array Digital, were mostly questions on how much does it cost to build a website, or how much does digital marketing cost. Array Digital decided to get in front of the matter and create content that shared the answers. They answer their frequently asked questions and make a big push so that their prospects can learn what they need, and in return create a relationship with Eric J. Olson or Array Digital. Roadmap. Also, thanks to Eric J. Olson for implementing something that now I was able to talk about in the book. So that's great. Because he read this like 18 months ago in the chapter later on in the book that I can't remember what chapter title it is, but you guys will figure that out soon. So congrats to Eric J. Olson. Roadmap. Number 1. What are the 3 most frequently asked questions people ask you? If you can't think of them, think about it over the next week. This will be a big impact for you. Number 2, survey your following and ask questions on what troubles or challenges them on what type of content they are searching for. Also, back to number 1, those FAQs don't have to be about what you do for a living right now. It could be something completely separate. So make sure to be thinking about that too. Number 3, begin to record or document conversations. Do this by pen and paper, typing on a computer, or recording with audio and video. Number 4, review and analyze the conversations. Determine what the trend in conversations is and create content around that trend. How do you create the content around that trend? What's the question? What's the answer that you give them? Start doing that. You could start literally just going and doing a video like this where you're like, the question is, how do I stand out from the crowd? And then whatever your answer is, give it like this, and then just spell it out. Then extrapolate that information and do it from an audio-only version. Start a podcast just with that. And we'll talk about how to do that later. Do a blog post about it. Do snippets on the internet, online. That's it. It's that easy. But you got to know what the questions are first. So that's it for chapter 16. Coming up next, chapter 17. Here we go. Peace pancakes, y'all.